And we have returned. You're listening to CSE Talk Radio. I can get away with some of this because, unlike Dennis, I am female. So I have been, yes, I have been groped. Yes, I have been harassed. There have been lewd, crude comments made through my life. I've heard things from bad guys or misbehaving guys. And I don't know, maybe I should find an attorney and remember how really bad it was. Well, all right. So Dennis says that his father then, maybe his mother said she was groped by the physician, and she told her husband, which is Dennis's father. So what did he do? He said, my father told the physician that if he ever does it again, he would break his hands. And it remained a family folktale. He says, if you had told my mother she was a survivor, she would have wondered what you were talking about. The term was reserved for the people who survived Nazi concentration camps and Japanese prison of war camps, or cancer survivors, not women groped by a man. Think about this. This is what they were screaming at Ted Cruz and his wife as they chased them out of a restaurant. We stand with the survivor or something like that. Now, Dennis goes on to say, when my wife was a waitress in her mid-teens, the manager, now this would be an older guy, right? The manager of her restaurant grabbed her breasts and squeezed them on numerous occasions. And she told him to buzz off and figured out how to avoid being in places where they were alone and continued going about her job. He says, now that's empowerment. These two examples, he said, infuriated many people who charged me with excusing unacceptable male behavior against women, with trivializing sexual assault and worse. He says, so allow me to explain what was obvious to the many who agreed with me and apparently not obvious to those who differed. He says, I never wrote or implied that groping women against their will is acceptable. My concern was that what constitutes empowerment. He says, I believe, as I wrote, that feminism has not empowered women nearly as much as it has weakened them and men. Now think about what he's saying there. I gave the examples of my mother and my wife to provide examples of powerful women not allowing being groped to traumatize them, not as examples of acceptable male behavior. My mother was a strong woman, a career woman who administered a 300-bed nursing home for decades. She was the administration. And my wife is a lawyer who left law to raise her late sister's children, as well as her own. If there is a stronger individual than my wife, I have not met her or him. I use them as examples of the ability of strong people, whether men or women, to withstand bad behavior and move on with their lives, rather than wallowing in the self-pity, victimhood, anger, contempt for men, lies. He says, colleges have a culture of rape. And ingratitude, he says, for living in one of the best countries, if not the best country, a woman can live in the world today, that have permeated feminism with Betty freedom to today. The late columnist, he said, and commentator Charles Krauthammer was permanently injured as a result of a diving accident while at medical school. From the day it happened, he decided he would live as normal a life as possible, and incredibly went on to graduate with his class. He never defined himself as a victim by using Charles Krauthammer. He says, an example of empowerment. Have I negated the seriousness of being paralyzed from the waist down? Of course not. No more than I deny that the men who groped my mother and wife acted like pigs. So why is that controversial? I believe these women, these feminists, not the feminists of years ago, but these feminists of today, they're not about equality, but they are about having their way. You know, they used to talk about women batting their eyelashes and using the wiles of a woman, that she could get anything she wants. Well, apparently that didn't work for them, so they're going to use nastiness. So we have the nasty women with their little pink hats that are supposed to be signifying a body part. And they wonder why people don't take them serious. This woman coming out with her lies, and I do believe she's lying, and I have no doubt in my mind that this is all political. They came out, well, let me find the article here, I can't remember her name, saying that they believe, here it is, it's Senator, I don't like her. I saw what she said. She told the men to just sit down and shut up. That's what she said. Hirono, Senator Hirono, I think she's from Hawaii, but I could be wrong. But she says and suggests that the Democrats could hold this Supreme Court seat open until 2020. Now, do you think they didn't plot and plan this? Do you think they didn't seek out someone that would be brave enough to tell some lies, to make up a story? And, you know, the story, they can't get caught in it, really, because they don't remember anything. Will she show up tomorrow? I really seriously doubt it. And the second one is not going to show up. And now the Democrats are all upset. They were complaining about her having to stand and explain everything to all these old white men. So all these old white men who are trying to be gentlemen, I guess, have brought in an expert in sexual assault, an attorney, to do the questioning of both. She's an outsider, a female, so she wasn't going to have to stand and answer questions to all the old white men. That wasn't good enough. That was a setup. They're just bullying her. Bullying her. We use that term a lot, bully. What's the best way to deal with a bully? Well, the ones that are doing the bullying are like Senator Feinstein, the left that has already convicted Brett Kavanaugh. They're making fun of him for saying he was a virgin through high school. You know, kind of a Tim Tebow thing. It's because they can't fathom someone who has such a standard that they would withhold that in their lives until the right time. So, what do you think? I'm embarrassed by these women that are claiming empowerment because I don't believe they're empowered. I believe they're bullies. I believe they are using being a female to go after the males. I raised 5 sons. I wouldn't appreciate it if they got in a position like Brett Kavanaugh is right now. Women who have actually been victimized, true victims of rape and assault, beatings, and other things. This demeans what happened to them. Making this up, acting like there's been some crime, which there has not been a crime. It's wrong. And it's a waste of time for the American people. And it's all about empowerment of the Democrat Party, of the leftists who don't want a constitutional man on the Supreme Court. Now, I told you that earlier this week, I get upset when they say, I want a liberal judge or I want a conservative judge. Either one of those upsets me. What we should want is a constitutional judge, because that's what it is. It's about the Constitution, which is also about the rule of law, which is also about innocent until proven guilty, I guess, unless you're a man. Unless you're a man. And a woman's accusing you of touching her, harassing her, hurting her feelings, groping her, then we got to believe them no matter what. I don't believe her. And I think we should have ignored it. I think we should ignore a lot of what the Democrats do. But sometimes we need to take a stand. And I want to talk about that when we come back. You're listening to CSE Talk Radio. This is Beth Ann. 877-895-5410. That's 877-895-5410. You know, I got this microphone. I'm feeling kind of empowered. And we will be right back.